Hello everyone and welcome. This is the Pebble Time, and it's the Pebble Time with the color display. Now most of what I'm going to say is going to be compared with some of my experiences with the LG G Watch. Firstly, there's a lot to talk about the screen, but if you take a look around, you'll really find a nicely made chassis that houses all the hardware inside. It's definitely not a heavy watch, and the thin profile of this watch makes it fantastic to wear every day. It won't get caught when putting on a jacket or jumper, and it won't feel like you've got something sticking out of your wrist when you got a jumper on. Its case is made of a wood-feeling polycarbonate with a thin lining of chrome on the side of the bezel. Along with those sides, we have the physical buttons for navigating throughout the Pebble's operating system, which requires such a small learning curve due to the natural placement of the buttons. Although they're in the right place, they aren't very tactile, especially the up and down buttons. Well, what can you do on it? Well, there's the usual: checking the time, receiving notifications, controlling your phone's music, replying to texts, and a lot more. As with most notifications, not all of them have a specific action, such as replying to a Gmail message or a text message, or even deleting the message from your phone, or archiving it in terms of Gmail. Also, one thing that I find really good about this is there's a way to make the Pebble stop listening to your voice instead of waiting for it to think that you're done, which is very good. Something that wasn't on Android Wear when I was using it. Now that was just a little on what the Pebble OS can do for you. Now for the extraordinary things. Well, now quite standard on all smartwatches nowadays is water resistance. That's right, the Pebble Time can withstand up to 30 meters of underwaterness under the ISO 22810 standard. So you can do the dishwashing, you can go swimming, fishing, and even do all that stuff in salt water. But you gotta rinse it off in fresh water shortly afterwards, and don't go around pressing the buttons while it's submerged, otherwise it could puncture the membrane or whatever it is that keeps the water out, and that wouldn't be very fun, would it? Moving swiftly on, the companion app for the Pebble Time is available on both Android and iOS, opens a world of funky and stylish, and almost just about any theme of watch face that you could probably think of. There are also hundreds if not thousands of timeline apps to download, and the best thing about the Pebble and its companion app is that all your apps and watch faces are saved when pairing the Pebble Time, and also to your Pebble account, which makes it easy to restore or, as a matter of fact, change your Pebble Time or pair it with different ROMs or even different phones, which is quite good, as I tend to change ROMs quite constantly. So you may be wondering, what is showing all the notifications and the time? Well, it's a 1.25-inch e-paper display that has a variety of 64 colors. You might be thinking that's rubbish. Well, it's not really. It's one of the best bonuses of having an e-ink display is the readability, especially in broad daylight, as opposed to LED screens or AMOLED screens. Anywhere there is light, you'll be able to see your messages pop up, and the time of course, but at certain angles a screen can become distorted due to the lens that's on top of it. But what about nighttime? Well, it's got that covered too. Did I mention it was an LED backlit display that can be activated with a quick flick of the wrist, in low light of course. Very clever of it to use the ambient light sensor to determine whether your wrist shaking should turn on the backlight, so you won't go around turning it on during the middle of the day, which is pointless. From some reviewers thought it was a bug, but it's actually a feature. Speaking about the backlight, it can be adjusted to be on different lengths and also disabled altogether, so you won't have to shake it. But what's the use of that if it won't last long? That's what some might say about others, but the Pebble Time can be extenuated to more than its 1 week of advertised battery life. I'll say it's mainly due to its choice of hardware, an ARM Cortex-A4, and its e-paper display sure make it go a long way. To test this out, I charged the Pebble Time fully on Monday morning and it lost about 10% each day until next Monday afternoon. Even then, it didn't stop showing the time, thus activating its special battery saving mode, which just only shows you the time and tells you to charge it. So by the end of each week, you'll probably want to charge your Pebble Time with the included magnetized charger. And for the final question, how does it physically hold up? So the build quality of the Pebble Time is actually quite sturdy. The screen is shielded by Gorilla Glass 3 and an oleophobic coating to scare off your fingerprints. but it seems to latch onto oil as you swipe your fingers across the screen and the bezel. But through my use, I've only scuffed up the bezel quite a bit actually on the top right hand corner by swiping it against metal side rails of staircases and ramps and things like that, and the glass only has a little bit of a scratch at the top, which is no big deal. So with that being said, thanks for watching my review of the Pebble Time, and let me know what you thought of this in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching.